One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. To let me be.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides onto his ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistlers report he paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Man, oh man, happy hump day to everyone, man. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their morning so far, and great to see everybody, man. We got Lucy right here, Charles Darwin, so you got to hit the like button now because you're always freaking out about this cat right here. Look at her. She's trying to be a terrorist right now. Look at her. Look at her. Ah! Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great whole morning lineup for you guys. There's a lot going on in the media, as you guys see. Putin agrees to a meeting with Zelenskyy. And then we also have IDF plans new phase of war in Gaza, as well as Trump wants to eliminate mail-in ballots. So we've got a lot to discuss here. We're going to start off with Trump trying to eliminate mail-in ballots and voting machines. And then we're going to be going into an explosion that happened yesterday in North Carolina. I actually posted it in the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, make sure you guys join up. It's in the description box of every video, by the way. But anyways, we're going to cover that a little bit. We're not going to play the whole thing. And then we're going to be going to Russia-Ukraine regarding the meeting, the agreed upon meeting. And then we're going to be going into Israel war, IDF plans new phase of war in Gaza, as well as authorities offer $500 reward for DC crime tips. $500? Who the fuck? No one's getting off the couch for $500. You know what I mean? Not in that sense, but whatever. And then we have an update on the big Hurricane Aaron. North Carolina declares state of emergency. Deadly rip current threats are going along the entire coast of the East Coast. So make sure you guys be aware of that if you guys go outside and go onto the beach or whatever like that over there on the East Coast. But hopefully everyone's enjoying their morning. Before we get into the madness, man, and before we say hello to everybody, make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you guys are brand new to the show, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because it's also free. This is the money part, though. Please consider becoming a member starting at $2.99 a month. We're 100% funded by you guys in the Breakfast Club, and I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to do what I do. If we relied on ads, we would never, we would be barely eating top ramen. I don't even think we'd be able to do that. So I'm really appreciative of you guys and your guys' support there, man. Little side note, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes and not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news. Great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, by the way, so make sure you guys hit that up. And last but not least, man, all super chats, super stickers, gifted membership signups are, of course, going to be shouted out and presented live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that you guys can donate to. And of course, I've got it up, my email up. So if anything comes through on these platforms, I will, of course, read it out loud right away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, great to see everybody. We got brother Steve Easy up in here. We got Chatting with Stacks, my man. We actually just recorded an interview yesterday with him. That was a fantastic time with Chatting with Stacks. So be on the lookout for that on his side. Make sure you guys go subscribe over there as well. We got Charles Darwin from Down Under. He's always the guy that's harassing me over my cat. Well, we started off the show with the cat. Path Killer, as well as, let's see here. We got Gunpowder Nitro, my man. Good morning. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you. We got Hardwire 1%er as well as TVT. Good morning, gentlemen. Great to see you guys as well. Wildcard, my man. Good to see you. We got Biker Babe. Good morning to you as well. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We got Moto Bomb and his crew, man, that rated us before the show. So I really appreciate that, by the way, as well. We got Brother S&S. Good morning, kind sir. Great to see you. Hopefully everyone's doing fantastic. We got Bob from Biker News Canada, another fantastic YouTube channel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into the madness for the day. We're going to start off with Trump's plan to eliminate mail-in ballots and voting machines.
Out to Washington. Remember, we spoke at length yesterday with some of our reporters and experts about an idea proffered by President Trump on Truth Social yesterday. He would like to do away with mail-in voting via executive order. Fox's Connor Hansen has a closer look.
Wow, it would be an executive order. So I guess it, could be overturned by another executive order by the next president, right? You know what I mean?
Look. President Trump says he plans to do away with both mail-in voting and voting machines.
Good morning, brother sick bastard. Good
His
morning.
announcement didn't sit well with some state election officials who say it's not up to him.
I don't work for you, Donald Trump. I work for the people of the state of Arizona.
This is an attempted power grab by Donald Trump. He is attacking democracy, and we will not let him win. Mail ballot.
How is it attacking democracy? You can still vote in person. Just so you guys know, I love that argument. They say, well, you know, if you're disabled, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, motherfucker, get someone to get your stupid ass in the car and get down there and vote in person. Listen, I voted on one leg this last year. I wasn't able to actually wear my actual prosthetic leg, right? I wasn't able to. I was healing from an injury. So I was like, well, I'm going to go vote, dude. You know what I mean? So I showed up one-legged. And I didn't let that be an excuse, man. So I'm in support of ending all mail-in ballots. And that's not an attack on democracy. That's a crazy fucking claim from the left. I have to point that out immediately.
Are secure. They cannot be hacked by foreign adversaries.
This week, President Trump said he is working on an executive order to make the changes. The Constitution allows states to decide how to run their elections and only...
No kidding, Joshua. But great to see you, by the way. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Let's get the likes up on the show. It's free to do so. I really appreciate your guys' laborious work making sure you guys hit that like button, man.
Congress can make changes to federal elections.
I'm sure there will be many discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill and also our friends in state legislatures across the country to ensure that we're protecting the integrity of the vote for the American people.
Mail-in voting is used by about 1/3 of all U.S. voters in different forms of voting.
What's up, Prez? Good morning. We got our left-handed tobacco real quick. I just got to, always got to do a little highlight of the left-handed tobacco making its appearance onto the show. Good morning, good morning. Shit. All right, let's do this.
Are used in almost all voting jurisdictions. President Trump suggested a more reliable alternative.
Paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results.
In June, a federal judge blocked an executive order requiring...
Senior citizens... okay, I see what you're saying. A special voting day for disabled and senior citizens. I see what you're saying, to avoid the lines, no mail-in votes. I get you. That's a good, that's a good way to kind of do it. I mean, when I showed up and did the vote in person, there was no line for me anyways. But I really think that's always been a great excuse, hey, we got disabled people, and I'm a disabled motherfucker. I'm not a senior citizen, but I am a disabled motherfucker, and I'm telling you from experience that that's cope. You know what I mean? Like, that's an excuse, and they always try to use an emotional excuse as well, and so of course they're going to go after disabled or senior citizens and stuff like that. Listen, there's plenty of senior citizens that show up in person and vote. You know what I mean? There's plenty of disabled people that show up in person and vote. Dude, honestly, you want to get involved? get off your fucking ass. You know what I mean?
Requiring voters to prove they are U.S. citizens and to prevent states from counting mail-in ballots after Election Day, the Trump administration is appealing. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
I hate that he does that every time, the Fox News. What's up, Rob's neighbor? Great to see you, by the way. We got Liquored Up with Poncho as well. Good morning, gentlemen. We got Papa Penguin up in the building as well. Great to see you guys. Hopefully you're all enjoying your morning. Always appreciate it. And TVT, I always appreciate that as well. Let's see. What about deployed military? That's different. Okay, that's something that's a specific nuance. Obviously, in the military, I think that they have to, they can vote in mail. You know what I mean? They're about the only people that I can actively say, yeah, I trust that. But anything else, bro? Fuck, dude. If you're a citizen and you can vote, get off your fucking ass and go vote in person, dude.
Connor, thanks so much. From New York there to the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia, hearing from Pennsylvania Governor, the Democrat Josh Shapiro, on the president's idea. He posted this on his social media accounts. Let's listen.
Maybe they can do it November 4th instead of November 5th or whatever, Hardwire. Maybe that's what they can do. Maybe they can do it a day early or something.
Donald Trump can sign whatever the hell executive orders he wants to sign and make a show out of whatever he wants, but he can't change the Constitution with an executive order. And the Constitution gives the authority to set our election rules to the states. Let me remind you that it was just about 5 years ago that a bipartisan majority in the House and in the Senate passed mail-in voting. And during that time, millions of people have voted by mail. And we have had free and fair, safe and secure elections. Donald Trump has won some of those elections. He has lost some of those elections. Democrats have won some. Republicans have won some.
Pause. Real quick, Frank says, Mike, my city has rides to and from ballot box and just takes a phone call. Yeah, that is very correct. You can damn near, I think there's a lot of different services all over the country from different towns, cities, whatever the case is, that if you can't get down there, they're going to have a team come and help you get down there. And then you're very right. It takes you, though, the initiative to make that phone call or make that logistical plan happen, right? All right.
For him to try and put more misinformation out there, to stoke more division and fear amongst people who want to exercise their constitutional right to pick the leaders in their communities and in their Commonwealth, that is just cynical and wrong. And Donald Trump can sign whatever executive order he wants. It will have absolutely no bearing on our elections here in Pennsylvania. And we will once again have free and fair, safe and secure elections led by Republican and Democratic clerks of elections in each of our 67 counties. People will be able to vote by mail or people will be able to vote in person.
This fucking guy.
Stupid.
Real quick, Papa Penguin put up a W comment, by the way. He said, there is a zero logical argument to be made against voter ID. I 100% agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. All right. Do we really need to? No, we don't need to hear the analysis there. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was the end of that section there. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on into the explosion that happened over there in Wilmington, North Carolina, after a car crashes into a major gas line. It looked like it was like at some sort of, I don't know what it actually was. We'll find out right here, but...
And I do want to take you out to this video that we are just getting into our newsroom here as first responders are on the scene after a driver plowed into a veterinary clinic over in Wilmington.
A veterinary clinic over there in Wilmington, North Carolina. Wow. A veterinary clinic.
Rupturing a natural gas line, causing a fire and injuring 3 firefighters. That is according to local media.
Damn.
Wilmington police saying a driver veered off the road and struck the Eastern Carolina Vet Referral Building. That was around 11:30 this morning. But again, all of this video and information just coming into our newsroom. They hit the...
Fuck, Bob, are you talking about voting? Should be an app? Hell nah. That'd be way too easy to hack or manipulate, bro. Dude, it's just too easy. I don't know, man.
Gas line to the building, and the driver left the scene, we're told, but was quickly apprehended, again, according to local media that was citing the police department. Footage taken by Jordan Branyan, that's what you're seeing right there on your screen, shows moments after the impact. The vet clinic's website states that it would be open for business starting September 15th, so about a month from now. We know that 3 firefighters were injured in the incident, according to police.
Wow,
and officials
and 3 firefighters were hurt on this.
Advise people to stay away from the scene of that active investigation. Again, video there that is very hard to look at, as you can see all of the smoke and the debris that is falling from the sky. Officials there on the scene providing some brief comments here. I do want to play them for you on Live Now from Fox.
Oh, we don't look at that background back there, dude. Holy shit. That looks fucked. I mean, debris just everywhere, bro. And real quick, Steve says it was a veterinary hospital and it totaled the place. Yeah, it definitely looked like it. And the felines, if you're talking about specific on Lucy, she's doing fantastic. She was a little terrorist this morning, but hey, what's different? That's what she does every day, whether that's in the morning and or at night. Usually she does it all the time at night, but anyways, we got Joseph up there, our favorite snow Mexican up there in Canada, saying, good morning, Mr. Ball, Lucy, breakfast crew, Bob, and definitely can't forget the haters. Stop the cap. That's right. Stop the cap. Great to see you, kind sir. Always appreciate you. Rumor is the Korean mafia was upset with the vet's voice, vet's office. I mean, I don't know why I read it as voice, but we got Mount High as well, man. I just put out my left-handed tobacco. Actually, that's probably why I said voice on that, because I have some left-handed tobacco in me. It feels ultra good. All right, let's go and get. There were no civilians inside, only fire personnel. So no civilians in sight, just fire personnel. So 3 firefighters. So let's see if there's any other image. I really don't need their analysis. I know what the facts of the case is there. I mean, it's pretty simple. The guy ran into a fucking gas line over at a veterinary clinic, and it exploded and told the place, and it unfortunately took the lives of 3 different officers. That's terrible. All right, so they're just going to reiterate what we just already know. So we're going to go ahead and move on real quick. We're going to go into Russia-Ukraine regarding this whole meeting. Putin did agree to meeting with Zelenskyy, and this is coming out of the White House. So let's go ahead and tune in and see what the hell we're talking about here and present it here. 3, 2, 1, bam.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft as we approach the top of a new hour, 8 o'clock here on the West Coast, 11 there in Washington, the rain coming down over the White House. Well, earlier today, President Trump offering his assurances that U.S. troops would not be sent to Ukraine to defend against Russia after seeming to leave open the possibility the day before. Trump also said in a morning TV interview on Fox and Friends that Ukraine's hopes of joining NATO and regaining the Crimean Peninsula are impossible. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively with more.
After historic summits at the White House and Alaska, President Trump is already working on the next one.
Look at that fucking table, bro. That table is such a gnarly flex. That's fucking crazy. There's so much power sitting in one office.
Is already working on the next one, hoping to bring 2 warring presidents face to face.
In order to learn, in order to move the ball forward with diplomacy and towards peace, you have to have open dialogue.
Trump, playing diplomat-in-chief, hosted Ukrainian President Zelenskyy and 7 other European leaders at the White House Monday and spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin by phone.
We're setting up a meeting. I sort of set it up with Putin and Zelenskyy. And, they're the ones that have to call the shots.
European leaders are also anxious to see an end to the fighting, but want to make sure Russia does not invade again, and are embracing NATO-like protections for Ukraine.
If you make any peace deal without security guarantee,
how's that? Is that better, Prez?
Russia will never respect its words, will never comply with its own commitments.
But President Trump stresses any peacekeeping operations will be led by Europeans, with no American boots on the ground in Ukraine.
We're willing to help them with things, especially...
Okay, it's hard for me to tell. You know what I mean? From my point of view. All right, there we go. We bring down Fox a little bit.
Probably if you could talk about by air, because nobody has the kind of stuff we have.
For us, it's important to have these security guarantees, not only from European leaders, but also from the U.S.
President Trump may have to persuade Putin because Moscow has repeatedly rejected the idea of a European peacekeeping force in Ukraine. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Why do they do that? They all do that. Fox News. So Trump vows not to send U.S. troops to Ukraine, and that's something that I would have already expected. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised by that, but that's a great, obvious choice there, of course.
Caroline, thanks so much. Bringing into the conversation a familiar face to all of you. That's Hal Kemper, national security analyst and expert and retired Marine intelligence officer. Hal, Good to see you here. There's a lot to get to. Let's focus first, and you and I were discussing this yesterday. You had alluded to and highlighted even that Trump was leaving the door open, or at least not shutting it, to some type of security guarantee in the form of U.S. military presence in Ukraine. He shut that door today. It's been shut for most of this war. We know that. But he did leave the door open for this, that it could involve air assets. Could you see U.S. planes in the sky over Ukraine anytime soon?
You know, Andrew, it's interesting. He did kind of tantalizingly leave that wide open about U.S. forces on the ground. I'm not ruling out that he might change his mind again as this thing grows and grows or changes and more.
No, we shouldn't ever, unless there's a major threat to us here as the citizen, then we shouldn't be getting involved troop-wise. Fuck that. We don't need to do that. Why would we ever need to do that, dude? That's a super L take right there.
But he's talking about air power. And the question about air power is
Of course he's talking about air power. I mean, because no one uses troops like that on the ground. They always just use, the air power. Real quick, we got my man, Clippy LaCroomer. Shit. Good to see you, man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning here. Roll Tide.
Was he talking about U.S. aircraft maybe providing some sort of, combat air patrol capability, guarding the skies of Ukraine? That's one option. I don't know if they've really, formulated this that much. Usually when you talk about air power, if it's proximate to where the delineation lines are, I could say borders, but I'll say line of control, wherever it is, where they are, then you don't want them that far back. And depending on what type of air we're talking about, he's saying no boots on the ground, but if you have U.S. planes at an airfield.
Exactly. That's what people are so accustomed in hearing now. But we don't really do boots on the ground for much shit aside from our own shit, Mostly it is air power. I mean, this goes for the world now, really.
In Ukraine, you implicitly have to have some U.S. boots on the ground, just maintaining the planes and doing all the things that are required. So there's a lot that's packed into that term air. Okay. It's not as simple as it sounds. I don't know, maybe the president thought it was kind of basic because he's maybe thinking like what we did in Iran or something like that. But actually, there's a lot packed into that concept.
I was kind of curious too. I mean, we have given them F-16s, not many of them, but they are being flown by Ukrainian pilots after we trained them. And so I was wondering whether or not, if there were to be U.S. planes in the sky, whether or not they'll be flown by U.S. pilots. It doesn't seem like that's the case here. Let's get into the diplomacy of all this. How has Putin responded to any of this? Heard from Sergei Lavrov today, didn't we? What did he say?
Well, basically, they're keeping it kind of open, if you will. What they have said is they're going to raise it up several levels of diplomacy in terms of whatever discussions are going on. Lavrov, I think, has made it pretty clear that you shouldn't have any European forces on the ground, and that's kind of what they've kind of been saying all along, is there should be nothing there. I won't get into the exact language because some of the language I heard was a little bit stronger than that.
So let me go ahead and skip ahead a little bit here as he finishes answering that. But I believe they're going to be talking about right here, agreeing
rather
to
publicly quiet
from the
on this whole thing, and I find that rather interesting that he hasn't certainly had agreed to a bilateral trilateral agreement by.
Shit, real quick, we got brother TVT coming in, dropping it hot like it's. Dude, I really appreciate that. For $10, man, he says, I sent you $10 ages ago and it came back. I guess you guys don't mess with e-transfers. LOL. So here you go. Fair is fair. Hey, man, I really appreciate that. You know what's funny is I actually remember getting that e-transfer thing, and then I went to try it, and then nothing, like there is no, like whatever option for me in my region is, it's not even there. So I just like, okay, well, it is what it is. But hey, I really appreciate that, my man. Thank you for dropping it like it's hot like that and making it rain, man. Hell yeah. That's 1 out of the 10 goal, guys. We have a goal up right now. If we hit 10 of those, then of course we will do a Discord movie night. It's going to be a great ass time, but we're going to do it eventually. We just got to hit the goal one time eventually. We got Big Lock Joker as well saying, Mike Ball, my apologies. I just seen this accident video literally 1 minute ago. No worries, bro. Great to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far.
Any means yet. And so he's keeping that wide open. And whatever they are agreeing to isn't really quite clear at all at this point. It's, we hear from the White House talking about what they have agreed to with Putin, but we don't hear Putin or the Kremlin explaining what they've agreed to. And I have found it a little bit difficult to follow where ground truth is today.
Okay. So the Kremlin has not yet said whether Putin...
Damn, that's crazy, TVT. I had no idea about that. That whole... I've never even heard e-transfer before. I've never even seen it before. That whole thing that you guys use up there in Canada. Yeah.
He's committed to a face-to-face meeting with the Ukrainian leader. I mean, the White House and European leaders are operating on the assumption that we're on the road to that. And we're going to get into this later. A possible location is being talked about on that meeting itself between Zelenskyy and Putin. I want to put this up, though, from the Kremlin side. Jackie Heinrich, quoting Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, Lavrov says, planning for next Russia-Ukraine meeting will happen, quote unquote, step by step, gradually, so that it is not for the sake of someone writing in the newspapers or showing on TV. Lavrov says, we're not declining any form of work, either bilateral or trilateral. The president has repeatedly said this. The main thing is that any formats like 1+1, 1+2, and multilateral formats, of which there are also many, including, by the way, within the framework of the United Nations, so that all these formats are included, not for the sake of someone writing in the newspapers in the morning or showing on TV in the evening or chattering on social network, trying to disrupt, such a propaganda foam to skim, and step by step, gradually starting from the expert level and then going through all the necessary steps in order to prepare the summits. This is the kind of serious approach we will always support.
No, I respect the shit out of that. It's kind of like talking about your war plans before you even do the fucking war. You know what I mean? And that kind of shit happens a lot, especially with the media. You got social media now. I mean, just everything is just content. You know what I mean? So it's like at this point, they're looking at it going, we got to protect ourselves. We're not going to sit here and give you guys this, and then you can just come and plan your assassination for the next month or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I totally get it and respect it.
Okay, what was that, Al? A lot of word salad there.
It's not really word salad. I get it. I'm not really... I just told you the breakdown of it. And then a White House official confirms chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, will host his military counterparts from Germany, the UK, France, Finland, and Italy in Washington this week to discuss security guarantees and how to implement them.
Guarantees and how to implement them. I mean, do you get the sense, we were talking yesterday, Hal, about the momentum that's on the side.
We got Frederick Frame up in the building. Shout out to my man. Great to see you.
Ukraine and Washington and Europe here. But do you get the sense right now, since we haven't heard much from Moscow, that we may be putting the cart before the horse on a lot of this?
Well, I think we're getting everything kind of organized, coordinated, getting all of our plans in place.
Okay.
I think we're also recognizing, as you know,
hell no, it's two wheels and nothing, Big Lock. Sorry, man, it's two wheels and nothing.
I teach planning.
2 or 4. I mean, you know what I mean. That's what I should say. Actually, 2 or 4.
Process.
Sure.
To international military officers and stuff like that. Now's the time you start doing that. Now's the time you start building those courses of action.
What's up,
what type of forces would you put in there? How would you get those forces in there? How would you support those forces in there? Where would you locate those forces? That's a lot of detailed planning, not something you want to wait till the very end and then start that planning process. What I was seeing today is that these meetings could begin as early as tomorrow. That tells you how fast Dan Kane's working on this, getting these foreign senior military.
Yeah, I support 18 wheels, of course, man, but I don't drive no semi. You know what I mean?
Chiefs in there to start working on this. This is where you start.
But I support anything 18 with it.
In the broad outline of what the security guarantee is going to look like. You start developing different courses of action. You start vetting those, reviewing them, assessing them, and then you start picking the ones that seem to work best. And so he's getting that planning process underway. At some point, he'll step back, and they're going to turn it over to basically joint planning groups or combined planning groups in this case, which is a multinational planning group, which will work together on this stuff. But they want to give them some direction, and that's what they're working on right now. And you're right, it is moving extremely fast.
I only say it's moving fast because I want to highlight an exclusive in Politico today. And it goes as follows, Hal, that the White House is planning for a possible trilateral meeting between U.S., Russian, and Ukrainian presidents in the Hungarian capital of Budapest as the next steps in negotiating the end to the war here.
Okay, so they actually did let out the location. They found the location out. And
U.S., Russian, and Ukrainian presidents in the Hungarian capital of Budapest as the next...
Hungarian capital of Budapest.
...steps in negotiating the end to the war here. Their reporting house suggests this. The U.S. Secret Service is preparing for the summit already in the Central European nation led by Prime Minister Viktor Orban. What do you make of the reporting?
I really don't want to hear his breakdown of that. We'll go ahead and move on from that. We're going to go into Israel-Hamas. That's exactly what is in the news. So before we do, we got a little side note here.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking
shit. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and bring up Israel-Hamas, the war over there, what the IDF plans with the new phase of war in Gaza. Of course, as you guys know, the proposal of the ceasefire for 60 days was approved yesterday by Hamas. Now, that's a proposal. That's not, like, hey, we've agreed and now we're not going to be doing anything here. Up until it's agreed upon, that's it. That's what everyone's kind of waiting on. But nonetheless, we're going to hear what the IDF is planning, I'm sure, in their new phase of war, and probably without any consideration of the 60-day ceasefire. You know what I mean? Real quick, we got Big Lock Joker saying, so do you still ride a street bike, Mike? No, I do not. I definitely should, and I want to, but it's a financial thing. You know what I mean? It's expensive to have a bike. But I look forward to eventually doing that. With your guys' support, we can make that happen. But yeah, no, I definitely want to. But the last one I had, I totaled. So anyways, back to this.
511 here on the East Coast. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and good morning to you if you're just now tuning in. I'm Jeanne Francine. Right now, we do want to transition to a news alert as relates to conflict.
That's super funny. Steve says, Mike, why don't you ever post any breakfast millennial food time videos? You got beef with IHOP on me? No, I love IHOP. Listen, man, I support, as a one-legged man, I support IHOP. And I very much support, like, breakfast stuff. But the thing is, I don't wake up early enough to really eat breakfast like that. And I used to not ever wake up hungry ever. And now, lately, I definitely have been. But I don't eat breakfast. And I'm not willing to sit there and make it every time, you know what I mean? But I am willing to make eggs. I do make a lot of eggs. That's something that I eat a lot of. I mean, we have chickens, so I get free eggs, bro. So I eat a lot of those, but I don't post them. We got Stephanie up in the building as well. Great to see you, by the way. Real quick, we got Brother So Loud as well, man. Great to see you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your morning. Great to see everybody.
In the Middle East, as we do so, I do want to transition to give you a live look at the Israel-Gaza border on this Wednesday morning. Look there in the distance, plumes of smoke. So we are working to see if that's a part.
Dude, it's crazy. You would think that I would eat McDonald's. That's crazy. Since I've moved here in Alabama, I've gotten McDonald's 0 times. Just letting you know. I got way better fucking options than that shit.
That new ground operation. Of course, we are waiting this morning for a response from Israel to Monday's news that Hamas has shown a positive response to the latest ceasefire proposal.
What's up, Roger?
The deal is being brokered by Middle Eastern diplomats. Let's check in now with Fox News national correspondent Jeff Paul. He has the latest details from Tel Aviv.
As Israel moves tanks into position ahead of a planned operation targeting Gaza City, there is...
Now, I use some of these footage that you're seeing right here, right now, on the thumbnail of yesterday's show about the Hamas accepting the ceasefire proposal. Interesting. I haven't seen the video, though, of this.
A renewed push by Egyptian and Qatari mediators to end the war for good. A diplomatic source tells Fox News Hamas has agreed to a new ceasefire deal that is 98% similar to the last U.S.-backed...
Right, and what it was actually supported by was Qatar, and I forget one other country it was, but Qatar, their mediators came up with this plan, and their plan is 98% in alignment with what our plan is. And we still don't really know what that 2% difference is yet. It's been asked in the media, but no one really knows.
Proposal, which Israel had previously approved.
If we do not reach an agreement now, we are facing a humanitarian catastrophe. That will make the catastrophes that preceded it seem tiny before it.
The new agreement involves a 60-day ceasefire that would see the release of 10 living hostages and the return of several bodies. 20 hostages are...
I'm all about raw fish, but I hate hummus. I'm not a hummus motherfucker. And yeah, Qatar funds Hamas. Go figure. Exactly, Charles. That is
believed to be alive.
Interesting, huh?
In exchange, Israel would free Palestinian prisoners and begin a phased withdrawal from Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responding with some skepticism.
I hear the reports in the media, and from them you can be impressed by one thing. Hamas is under immense pressure.
But so is the Israeli government, as protests continue to erupt throughout the country, calling for a deal.
We just need the president, Mr. Witkoff, and others just to push it in to the end zone and get the deal done. We know it's possible.
President Trump weighing in on social media, saying in part, "We will only see the return of the remaining hostages when Hamas is confronted and destroyed. The sooner this takes place, the better the chances of success will be." But Palestinians in Gaza say time is running out.
There is no life left. As you
Motherfucker had a straight pet mule.
Will be. But Palestinians.
Look at that shit. Motherfucking jackass up here. Shit.
In Gaza say time.
Look, he's in the middle of the road and shit. These guys are like, holy shit, can I get around this fuck? Like, what? Why is he carrying all this shit? What is that? Like a bed that he makes or something?
He's running out.
There is no life left. As you can see, living conditions are hard.
Israel says it's now reviewing the proposal that Hamas already agreed to and will have a response by the end of the week. But it's worth noting that Prime Minister Netanyahu has long stood firm that the only way to truly end this war is by eliminating Hamas once and for all. In Tel Aviv, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for that detailed report. A lot to dissect and discuss this morning as relates to Middle East conflicts. So we want to bring into the conversation expert on the Middle East with the University of New Haven, Ken Gray. Ken, good morning. Always a pleasure.
Now, this guy's obvious, a reoccurring guest. Little heads up here. This guy is definitely a heavy Zionist. So just keep that in consideration. He is biased towards one side, you know what I mean? But, hey, he does have a lot of different facts that he does bring to the table, though.
Good morning, Janae. Glad to be back with you.
So a lot to dissect. I want to first start with this new ground operation. A lot of criticism on Israel this morning about this ground operation, saying it's taking away from the reality of a ceasefire. Break that down for us.
Sure. So Gaza City has been under attack, under air attack by Israel now for several days. And this renewed effort there in Gaza City has now...
What's up, Arm James? Great to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far.
Seen a call-up of an additional 60,000 troops, plus 20,000 troops that are currently there have been told that they are going to be extended. And consequently, Israel is ready to devote a lot more resources back into the Gaza Strip, most specifically aimed at Gaza City. The idea here is to root out Hamas and hold the territory, which is a different approach than what the IDF had been taking, where they would go in, clear an area, then continue moving elsewhere and not hold the area that they had cleared. Hamas was able to get back into some of these areas, and consequently, they continued to be a problem. So this operation is called Gideon's Chariots, and the call out...
So that's the new operation, what it's called.
Went out...
Gideon's Chariot.
Just during the night, and we will see how quickly they are able to put additional troops into Gaza City.
And speaking of that operation, the latest from Israel Defense Forces, they put this out about 30 minutes ago on this Wednesday on X. They say, quote, over the last few days, IDF...
Real quick, before she reads that from the IDF, real quick, Jack makes a great point. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Helps out immensely, and it's free to do so. Listen, I'm just telling you something. Listen, it's free to do so. I really appreciate you guys getting the likes up. It helps out a lot. Seriously. Thank you, guys. You guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening in the world, but you guys can do it for me and my takes in the channel here.
Operations in Jabalia and the outskirts of Gaza City, as you just mentioned there, Ken. IDF saying, quote, the troops are dismantling military infrastructure above and below ground, eliminating terrorists and consolidating operational control in the area, while warning civilians to evacuate south for their safety. Concerned this morning about the hostages still in Hamas captivity. Are they safe while this new ground operation is underway?
Yeah, that's a good question about the safety of the hostages. Of course, they are the only real bargaining chip that Hamas still has.
Yes, that is correct, what he just said. They are totally 1,000% being used as political pawns, which is so sad. You know what I mean? It's just fucking... I can't even imagine living that kind of life in captivity like that. I just couldn't even imagine. In a fucking underground city... it's just terrible.
Be able to try to get Israel to stop this and to survive. Remember, as we've talked about before, that as long as Hamas survives this conflict, in reality,
what's up, Get Some? Great to see you, by the way.
No matter how badly they are hurt, how badly they are damaged, Hamas wins because they would have attacked Israel, they would have withstood their attacks, and they would continue being the governing force there in the Gaza Strip. And so Hamas has to keep those living hostages still alive so as to be able to use them effectively as a bargaining chip. That's what they're trying to do right now with this current peace agreement, that the ceasefire agreement that they are accepting, is that they are trying to use it, but not to release all the hostages, but instead to only release some of the hostages over the 60-day period. That is a deal that is going to be a deal breaker. Both Netanyahu and President Trump have both rejected that idea of only giving up some of the hostages. They want all the living hostages out.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. Because what the ceasefire proposal that we were talking about yesterday, there are a total right now. There are a total of this is what the report is: 20 living hostages and 30 dead. Right now, what they were talking about in the ceasefire agreement is that this would be phased, where they give 10 living hostages, they keep 10 living, and they give also the dead ones up as well. That's from my full understanding of the ceasefire agreement, and they would keep 10 living hostages. And basically, that's probably the 2% difference between the plan. If I had to guess as an analyst, that's what I would have to guess. But again, I don't know what the actual fact is on the 2% difference, but I do know that they wanted to phase out the hostages like that.
Change for a potential ceasefire.
World leaders keeping a close eye out on Gaza this morning as I put on the screen a wide-scale view at the Israel-Gaza border. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese this Wednesday brushing off accusations from his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu that the Australian leader is, quote, a weak politician who had betrayed Israel by recognizing a Palestinian state. The Associated Press reporting that Netanyahu's extraordinary public rebuke comes after an August 11th announcement by Albanese that his government's recognition of a Palestinian state will be formalized by the United Nations General Assembly in September. Of course, the announcement followed by that tit for tat that we saw, cancellations of Australia.
And fuck the UN. And fuck NATO too. Both of them.
And Israeli visas. Ken, as we are further discussing this, we see world leaders at odds, many of them, when it comes to this, quote, Palestinian state. Break that down for us as we are looking at this conflict in real time.
Yeah, the concept of a Palestinian state right now, they don't have a capital. They don't control their borders. They're not really able to survive without external support, with aid coming in. So this is purely a symbolic recognition. Really does not carry that much weight, but it's meant to put pressure on Israel. If I went up and I looked at who has already recognized Palestine as a state, and there is a long list of countries that have already recognized Palestine as a state going back into the 1980s. And so, again, this most current go-round, we've got France, we've got the UK, we've got New Zealand, we have Australia now, the latest. These are all countries that either have already recognized Palestine as a state or have said that if Israel does not meet certain conditions, they will recognize Palestine as a state within the next month or 2 months. And so trying to bring pressure to bear against Israel, but at the same time, what does that really mean? The Palestine or Gaza Strip really cannot function on its own. And so this is really symbolic.
No, it can't, obviously.
More than anything else.
Ken, and as you did mention earlier in our discussions, Gideon's chariots, I do want to share this with the viewers to further show that you know what you're talking about.
So the JP Post, which is the Jerusalem Post, they post on X.
The latest from the Jerusalem Post, as they say, Defense Minister Israel Katz approving this Wednesday morning the IDF takeover of Gaza City, dubbing the operation called Gideon's Chariots 2. So
okay, so they're labeling this now the second part of the Gideon's Chariots. Interesting, of the operation. So they approve Wednesday morning, which is today, the IDF takeover of Gaza City, dubbing the operation Gideon's Chariots 2.
The reality of the situation, the ground operation will still be underway, Ken, but the reality of a ceasefire, that's what people are holding on to hope for.
Yeah, so Netanyahu is under a lot of pressure.
And I just explained the hostage situation. I just explained it right before you came in. So Are they all dead? So far, they have 20 alive and 30 dead. That's what the actual report is.
Sure, internally and externally, to try to come to terms with Hamas for this ceasefire. This is an agreement where 98% of it was already on the table before, and that Israel had agreed to before, and Hamas had rejected. Now that Hamas is being threatened with this renewed effort in Gaza City, they're ready to come to the table. However, they still are holding on to their hostages. So I think the number of hostages that they are ready to release is going to be the stumbling block for this. If they were to give up the hostages they have, Israel would quickly agree to this, I believe, but Hamas then loses all of their chips in the game here as far as trying to survive. So Hamas giving up the hostages, Hamas ends up losing. Hamas holding on to the hostages, Israel continues to pound away at them. But things are not looking good for Hamas's long-term survival.
Well, shit. Well, all right. We found out the facts there and what's happening, and it's got it proved that they're going to be taking over Gaza City completely. So, just the way it is. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the next story here, real quick, we're going to go ahead and show you guys something that I made this morning right when I woke up. Right when I woke up. It was awesome. Oh! I'm going to replay that.
Oh! Come on, guys. What the f*** doing, bro? This motherfucker. You get the f*** wanna die? Hey. Call her again. Everybody dies, including Jesus.
Whoa.
Oh! Yeah. Ooh.
I always have to wake up to some crazy ass shit. This motherfucker said he's gonna kill Jesus too. Yo. You need Jesus.
Shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on and get into the next story here. Authorities offer $500 reward, which is fucking nothing. I don't even know why they're even offering it. $500 reward for DC crime tips. So let's go ahead and get into that story here. And before we get into it completely, shit, we got you know, some announcements.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Shit. All right, here we go. Let's figure out what's happening in DC here. It's a quick update here.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox as we continue with your top stories and headlines. Take a look at your screen. The latest from the U.S. Marshal Service on X. This as the continued deployment of hundreds of National Guard troops to the Washington, D.C. area is still in effect. 6 Republican-led states sending Guard members to the nation's capital.
I have no idea. Hardwire. I have no idea.
Capital as President Donald Trump is now asking the public's help with his federal takeover. We want to check in this morning with Fox 5 DC's Melanie Onwith. She joins us live from Navy Yard with details on the new public reward being offered for tips that lead to an arrest. A lot to dissect, Melanie. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Janae. So, you know, I think a lot of people are approaching this with a healthy dose of skepticism. You know, rewards are a tough thing and tips are a tough thing to ask from a lot of people, and especially in what is a high tension environment in the city right now. You know, the task force press office says that they have more than 1,900 officers out on the streets right now already participating in these law enforcement operations nightly. Now the U.S. Marshals want to pay people for even more. So we've seen these federal agents patrolling the streets making arrests. Now in a tweet shared on X by the U.S. Marshals, they posted $500 rewards for information that leads to arrest in D.C. during the public safety.
I did not see that, by the way, Steve. No, I did not. But so what they're talking about here, let me just back this up so you guys understand. It's $500 reward for information that leads to an arrest in D.C. during the public safety surge. So that's during this time right now, they're offering it to like anybody, you know, if you scan and submit a tip right here, right now, we'll give some information. And if you lead to an arrest, we'll give you $500. It's fucking crazy, bro. Absolutely wild. All right, let's see what this form says. Description, including who, what, when, where, and how. What are you reporting on today? And it gives you a scroll bar that you can scroll and pick shit. Date, time of offense, if relevant and known. How do you know this information? They're scrolling through. Hold on. I wanted to see the end of it. Who else has knowledge of this information? How do we contact them? How did you hear about our tip line? Wow.
Wanted fugitives, registered sex offenders who aren't living at the correct address, potential threats to the federal judiciary, or missing children's cases. But now they've just added this vague new category with simply Washington, D.C. crime tips. People who live and work in the city tell us.
I guess not, TVT. You know, I'm thinking that that's not a good goal. Maybe for next stream, we're just not going to have to go for the Discord movie night. You know what I mean? I guess it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I understand. I respect it. You know what I mean?
They're wary of this latest
tactic.
Give the people what they want.
It will cause people to become even more vigilantes, even more they're going to try to take law into their own hands, and it's going to cause real problems. There's not enough crime in the city to warrant a federal tip line being set up with $500 rewards. We're not at that state.
I think it's a good idea to a certain extent. It could help, it couldn't. It could make things worse.
$5 ain't nothing to me. I make more than that every 2 weeks. That's nothing to me.
That's nothing to me.
And so you're hearing a lot of people saying the risk is not worth a reward to them in this case. And, you know, it's interesting, too. There's not a lot of additional information in terms of the terms and conditions for these rewards. Most of the Crime Solvers programs that local police operations use, they say it's a reward for information that leads to an indictment or a conviction. So it has to be a good tip, not just a tip that simply leads to an arrest. So there are a lot of questions.
I agree, TVT.
Questions today about exactly how this is all going to work. One other thing, we do know that initially this emergency crime initiative was supposed to last for 30 days. We know that Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna has introduced a bill now in Congress that would allow the president to extend it for much longer.
Interesting. Okay. Well, they're going legislative on this. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the next ordeal and final part of the news of the morning. We got Hurricane Aaron over there affecting North Carolina and actually all of the East Coast. But North Carolina does declare a state of emergency. And deadly rip current threats are they're just immense right now over there on the East Coast. If you guys don't know what that is, it's where the water is pulling itself away from the shoreline. So when you're out in the water swimming around, even on a surfboard, you can be sucked out to sea, bro. So be careful of that as you know, anybody going down to the East Coast and hanging out on the beach line there. But let's go ahead and bring this up for you guys. And this is as of only an hour ago. This is the latest update on this whole incoming hurricane that hopefully we miss completely, honestly, but we'll see.
We are continuing to track Hurricane Aaron here from Florida to New England. People there trying to enjoy their last 2 hours of summer along the coast.
It looks like it is going to hit, though. It does look like it's going to get some outer banks of this shit coming in and hitting a little bit.
Rip current warnings, closed beaches, and in some cases already treacherous waves as this hurricane inching.
Be good out there, Brother Steve, and be safe. Always
closer
appreciate you.
On this Wednesday. This is live look here at the entire weather system from our XRAD radar. Joining us live now on the ground is Britta Merwin with Fox Weather. So Britta, just yesterday conditions were all right, but I see that it's already starting to have some type of impact in the area. What are we seeing?
Real quick before she gets into the report there, look how fucking it looks ugly back there. It legitimately looks fucked. Real quick, we got Gorilla Biscuits. I said it for you, bro, so you can clip it if you want. He said, good morning, God bless. And I very much appreciate you being a member for now a month, bro. I really appreciate you. And he also gifted one out to make it rain on y'all. I really appreciate you, kind sir. Always appreciate you.
Yeah, so this morning we have a little bit of rain, and I've actually gotten the question multiple times from people walking by, is this because of Aaron? It's actually not. So we have a slow-moving front that's crossing through the northeast, and that's producing the light rain this morning. And in some ways, it might be a hidden blessing because it's keeping people off of the boardwalk, which is tough. I mean, it's summer season.
Brother 13, great to see you, man. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well.
This normally would be a packed boardwalk here in Point Pleasant, but they're very concerned about safety. Unfortunately, the past several weeks have been deadly along the Jersey Shore. We've lost someone in Seaside Heights, which is just south of here, and Belmar to the north just in the last couple weeks, and that was without a hurricane in the water. So as you can imagine, a hurricane being out there producing large swell, it really has a gut punch to the local government and authorities for what could happen if people get too close. So here's a look at the Atlantic Ocean this morning. morning, and you can tell that we got some big cats out here doing some hard work. That is an angry Atlantic Ocean. We've seen a couple waves come in 4 to 5 feet, and that will be small compared to what we have tomorrow when Aaron makes its closest pass to the Jersey Shore. But what these two bulldozers are doing is they are making a round of sand dunes. Now, a lot of beaches here on the Jersey Shore that are not with a boardwalk actually have a natural dune system. But because at Point Pleasant we have this awesome boardwalk and a lot of industry and homes, we don't naturally have a dune system to protect the homes. And so they're trying to build up some makeshift dunes to take on the surge and the water and the powerful waves. Because as you can tell, we have a business.
I mean, listen, man. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look great, bro. That looks fucked.
Right here, this is Jenkinson's. They're the main spot on the boardwalk, and they have an awesome bar, dance floor, and restaurant that extends onto the sand, right where you see all those palm trees. So they don't have a lot of wiggle room here for the waves coming up and getting too close to the business, and that's why they're working on those makeshift dunes. Now, down below is the boardwalk, and you'll notice on the other side of the fence, which is locked, you actually cannot access the sand this morning, there's a long line of what looks to be a wooden box. That is actually covering up a massive metal wall that they installed post-Sandy.
Yeah, it's the same.
Sandy came through.
That's the same guy, Hardwire, of course. Yeah.
Here. Gosh, it feels like an eternity now, but it destroyed this entire boardwalk. Very little was left behind. And after that storm, the Army Corps of Engineers came in and they drilled a metal wall about 15 feet down in the sand, and they covered it up with this wood box to make it look a little, aesthetically pleasing for the locals and also the visitors. But that's now the protection for the boardwalk. Because as you can tell, we have a good amount of sand, at least at this beach. It's not the same at every beach on the Jersey Shore, but here we do. And if we ever had another big one like Sandy, that would be the protection for the newly built boardwalk that everybody enjoys and wants to keep safe. But for the most part, we got a runner coming on right through. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
For the most part, people are just trying to get out, stretch their legs. Unfortunately, not the best weather, but they do want to see these waves. And that's the concern is folks getting...
Y'all are crazy on the East Coast, bro. Especially Floridians. You guys just fucking crazy out there. Oh, let me just go for a jog, in the middle of a hurricane. Fuck it. Nothing's going to stop me from getting my steps.
Too close. So for good reason, they are keeping the gates closed today to keep people off the sand, and I expect that they'll be closed probably all the way through Friday.
Britta, especially because we just saw someone running there on the boardwalk, and it's not a unique sight. We've seen the same when it comes to the beaches in Florida. Even though there's a hurricane, people like to step outside and still enjoy it, even if the weather is not too great. But in terms of when it's going to be the worst today, what would you tell any of the viewers or anyone that's in that area? When should they really hunker down at home, or can they still kind of be out and about throughout the next several hours?
So there's a couple things to keep in mind for folks that live in the Northeast. This is a very different setup than what they're going to experience in the Carolinas and the Southeast because we have a front moving through.
What's up, Bryce? Good morning.
Again, the rain that we're experiencing this morning is not associated with Hurricane Aaron. So later today, when this front rolls through, we're going to have thunderstorms. And that is going to bring in, of course, a time frame where we have to be inside because we have thunderstorms moving through. Now, sometimes ahead of hurricanes, we get something called a predecessor rain event. And this is a setup where it's not really clear if that is going to occur. But when we do get a ahead of a hurricane, they can form hundreds of miles ahead of the storm, and it can allow for very heavy rain. The WPC has issued a marginal risk for excessive rainfall across New Jersey, and it's for that slight chance that some moisture from Aaron could get locked up in this front that's moving through today and give it a little more oomph than it normally would, meaning that we could have some isolated flood concerns. So I will say this afternoon and this evening...
Man, that's fucked. What a miserable ordeal here. All right, let's go ahead and fast forward here and get to this tweet here.
On social media regarding hurricane.
National Hurricane Center put this out over there. NHC Atlantic over there on X.
Aaron. So this first one, courtesy of the National Hurricane Center, saying this, that there is a high risk of rip currents from today and on Thursday for most U.S. coast beaches from South Florida to Massachusetts due to Hurricane Aaron. Beachgoers are urged to follow information from lifeguards, local authorities, and beach warning flags. The best advice, stay out of the water. Later on, we're going to get some more updates from officials, including North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein. Here he says this, Hurricane Aaron is expected to impact North Carolina. I have declared a state of emergency to assist with the response and to mobilize resources. To folks on the coast, know it is time to prepare. Check your emergency kits, make sure you have emergency alerts turned on, and listen to emergency guidance.
Yeah, make sure you guys have, if you guys are over there on the East Coast especially, but, North Carolina specifically, South Carolina, Florida, all of that, just make sure you guys have your notifications on. You have some sort of tracking app or something, you know what I mean? Get some notifications out there. Don't be lames. Definitely keep yourselves alive, bro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough for making these very shows happen. I'm very blessed to be able to do these things. I'm very honored by that, by the way. So I can't thank you guys enough for your engagement, your guys' contributions to the channel. I really appreciate all of that. So listen, there's going to be a Diamond Effect tonight. There's a small chance I may not be able to make it, but I'm trying to move shit around to make that happen. But nonetheless, if we don't see you guys tonight, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Hopefully everyone enjoys their rest of their day. And God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Stick around for the raid.
A voice emerges, a host with a fire burns.